Hi everyone, my name is Siobhan Perkins. I'm here for Madison Reed. I am a colorist for Madison Reed as well as our manager of training. And what I am here to do with you today is go over everything that you need to know to have a successful at-home coloring when you're doing this on your own. We have seen a ton of new requests from people who are coming to us for the first time. We totally understand that maybe you were previously a salon goer. This is your first time doing it at home. You're a little nervous. Don't worry. We got you. This is going to be so easy. I'm going to take you every step of the way. And you're in my real bathroom. We're going to do this together, step by step. I'm going to be with you. We're going to do roots. We're going to do gloss, what we refer to as the perfect pair at Madison Reed. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that process. Why do we do roots and gloss as two separate products on the same head? So we're going to get to all of that. I just want to wait about a minute to let everybody who wants to sign on and do this with us get signed on. If you want to say hi everyone, I can already see you. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining. So while everyone gets signed on, let me get those of you who are already here a couple of pro tips. It's just going to make your life so much easier while you're doing this. So first of all, set up everything you need, because once you have product on your hand, you're not going to want to touch things. So if you are using gloss with me today, I highly recommend that you take off the cap and take off the little silver part that's on there. I've already done that. It will make your life a little bit easier. Also, these things that come in your kit are going to be lifesavers for you. Your barrier cream, which is going to keep you from getting stained around your hairline and on top of your ears, and our stain removing wipe. So let me do a little adjustment here. So the stain removing wipe is pre-treated, and this is something that you can use to get little drops around the hairline while you're applying. It doesn't matter how good you are at applying. This happens to pros. You're going to get little drips. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. You're going to get little drips. Go ahead and have this opened and ready. This, your barrier cream, these are just going to help you along the way, even though you won't need them maybe until during the process. The other thing is time. I recommend being mindful about the time you've set aside for this. From application to shampooing and blow drying, it's about 90 minutes for your full at-home hair appointment. So set aside that time, or if you just want to save this video for a time that you do have it, this will be on our site. You can access this later. So you can color along with me when we're not even live. So I think that will be really helpful. So I think we have enough people on now where I'm just going to get started because I don't want to make you guys wait too long. And like I said, this video will be around for future watching. So prepare your space, however that is for you. I like to put down a paper towel on my bathroom sink myself just to prevent drippies. Like I said, it doesn't matter how pro you are, it's going to happen. So may as well plan for it. Whoop. Hold, please. I told you this was real life. I was not lying to you. Okay. Whoop. Are we good? We're good. Also, something to protect your clothes. I have the Madison Reed robe that you can get on our site. You don't have to have this. You can have an old button-up shirt that you don't care about. You can take a beach towel and clip it around your neck. This is not terribly, terribly important. What's important is that you're saving your clothes. Alrighty, so we've got this on, we've got our space set, everything is prepped. I would take out the elements of your kit so you don't have to dig around for those too much. There we go. Can you say hi if you are actually coloring along with me, just so I kind of know who's doing this live with me? Okay, I've got some backup team too that are looking out for that, so I'm going to try to stay at a pace. If I'm saying anything too fast, if I'm moving too fast, if anything is not working for you, put it in the comments and I can kind of adjust my presentation accordingly. So, first things first, you're going to make your life easier on yourself if you section your hair. So we recommend an easy 4-part section, straight down the center, and from the top of the head down to the ears. If you have a pixie cut, super short hair, really short layered hair, or a man with a short haircut who's coloring your hair, you're not going to need to do this. This is going to be more hassle than it's worth. Sectioning isn't going to help you, so don't even stress it. And I'm just going to set aside the two fronts and clip these. Okay. Now, let me just tell you, I colored my hair not that long ago, so I don't have a lot of roots, as you can see. But since today what we want to do is really guide you through the application and it's not so much about the results, that's okay. I'm using one of our toning glazes. The application is absolutely the same when you're using your permanent color for gray coverage at home. So, are we ready? Are we sectioned? Everyone is prepped? Let's go ahead and mix color. So just take your tube into your activator bottle, empty the whole thing. We do sell, these aren't terribly difficult to squeeze the product out of, but we do have tube keys on the site if that makes life easier for you. And what that is just a little metal slip-on device, and you just like squeeze that down, and it helps to get all of the product out of the tube. You don't necessarily have to have it. These are pretty easy to squeeze, and then just shake your product all up. Hi everyone. I want to see everyone who's on here, but I also don't want to mess up my camera angle too much. Okay. So everyone is going to do the same basic setup as far as sectioning your hair and how you're applying and the size of sectionings that you're using. So color is mixed, shake, shake, shake. Take a look at it. Look for any visible clumps. If you have any visible clumps, keep going. Sometimes it just takes a minute. Okay. Barrier cream. This is your best friend. This is going to save you from looking like you just colored your hair, right? So what I want you to do is apply this around your hairline. Can you see exactly? I'm putting it on pretty thick. And try to keep it out of the hair itself. So if you get any on your hair, no stress, just wipe it off with your finger just like that. This barrier cream, its purpose in life is to prevent stains. It's meant to keep color from depositing. It's meant to do that on your skin, but if you get it too far in your hair, it'll do that there too. So I just advise a little bit of caution to try to keep it off the hair and just on the skin. I use this everywhere. I do top of the ears, I do back of the nape, so that if I'm using, if I have my hair in a bun or a ponytail, you don't see any color marks there either. And we give you a pretty good amount, so you should be able to lay this on fairly thick. You'll hear me refer to color this way too, but you want this to look like frosting on a cake a little bit, like you should be able to see it. Okay, that's gonna keep happening, so just bear with me. Alrighty. So we have our barrier cream on, we are protected, we're ready to roll. So if you are just joining us, like I said, we are doing an application together of Roots and Color Reviving Gloss. That's what we like to call our perfect pair. We like to use Roots Permanent Color and Color Reviving Gloss together because that is how you get sort of the most custom and expensive, bespoke looking color results. Oftentimes at home, we will either just do a permanent color pull through after a certain amount of minutes, or we'll just put that whole thing all over our head every single time. What tends to happen is because this hair has had color before, every time we put pigment on it over and over, it just gets kind of darker and bluer and kind of sadder. And this all looks beautiful, and then we have kind of these dark, inky looking ends. So replacing permanent color with something semi-permanent and sheer like a gloss prevents that from happening. And that's what you're getting when you go to your professional hairdresser. That's what they're using on you, and that's why you leave feeling wonderful. So we're emulating that at home for you. Now, if you are like, wait a minute, I'm doing this color with you, and I didn't get gloss, that's okay, don't stress it. You can either do your Roots only application, that's great, or you can pull it through for 5 or 10 minutes at the end. We just wouldn't recommend too much longer than that if you are already pigmented here, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. On this side, I'm gonna show you with my bottle, okay, the bottle application, straight out of the kit. You don't need to have a bowl and brush. If you have a bowl and brush, I'm gonna do the other front part of my head with bowl and brush just so you can see it, but I want to demonstrate how easy this is to use. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my roots, looking at the mirror. I like to do a little zigzag pattern and work it in with your fingers. It's so easy. There you go, nice and thick. Now, when you're doing a root touch-up, try to just do a root touch-up. I am going to where I want my roots to be shadowed, right? But if your new growth is only going up to here, try not to overlap too much if you can help it. That will prevent you from getting any darkness or extra banding, and it'll just look more professional. And we just want it to be perfect for you. So that's my pro tip. Okay, so if you notice when I'm holding this bottle, it's not dripping. You can use this nozzle as your parting separator. All right, I want you to see how thick this section is, right? You can almost see through it to the other side. It's about a 1/4 inch. That's how thick your section should be, especially if you're covering gray. Sometimes those grays are resistant and they need to really be weighed down by the product. If you're curious about how you know if you have resistant gray or not, well, if you've been coloring for a while, you probably know, because you get your hair colored and then you see grays pretty close to right away. If not, and if you're just like, I don't know, my colorist usually deals with that, I'm not sure if it's resistant or not, it can sometimes be a texture thing where you'll have those grays being a slightly different texture and actually wanting to stand up right outside the hair color. So I'm gonna get close here so you can see this. And on one side and on the other. We have how-to videos on the site all the time that live there that you can see too, if you wanna see it done both ways. I'm doing it almost exactly the way it's done on that video though, so it'll be really consistent. So if you'll notice, what I am doing is I am going in straight into my sections and applying, keeping it really nice and skinny and neat. It just helps keep you organized and keeps you from getting frustrated with not knowing if you've already colored that section or not. Now, I'm not covering gray in this particular video. I do have gray. I've got about 20%, but because my hair was already, my roots were already tinted, the purpose here isn't to cover my gray in this video. If you are covering gray, what you might want to do is outline the whole hairline first before you get into the sections. We do that because those hairs need a little bit more time to process. So those can already be sitting processing while you are coloring the rest of your hair. Something that a lot of people don't quite know is typically around the age that we start covering gray, we start using other anti-aging products, particularly on our skin. And the ceramides and amino acids and all those really great anti-aging ingredients that help our skin get constantly pushed into our hairline, whether we know it or not. And what it creates is stronger, more versatile, more resistant hair as well as skin. So our gray starts to get more resistant too, and we don't even realize it's happening. I mean, age also does that, but just a little kind of pro tip about trying to keep that face cream out of the hair as well. Okay, so this quadrant is done, all with the bottle. You saw the size of sectionings I took. You saw about how long it takes. If you've got your cleansing wipe open and you have any drips, just go ahead and get those drips now. The less time they have to sit there, the less permanent they will be. So I try to get them as I go along. So this side of my head, bottle application. I'm going to do the other side of the front with the brush. Now, typically we use the bowl and brush a lot in color bars, and a lot of professional colorists use them. We do this because you get a little more control, okay? So there's a couple of things you can keep your sections even tidier because you're going to use this guy to do your sections, and it's just a little bit skinnier than the nozzle. Okay, the other thing is it's fun. You just feel like you're painting, so I like that. Also, you can feel exactly where the color is going. Sorry about the camera. Because you feel the bristles right against your scalp. So maybe when you're using the bottle and you're putting the product on, you might not feel it everywhere. Like you can feel the cold product a little bit, but it's not quite as precise as the tint brush. So that's what the tint brush is helpful for. It's not a have to have, but it's a nice to have. So I do know that we've had a lot of new clients being really interested in our Pro Kit. You know, it's just helpful. Anything that you're doing with your hair as a ritual of self-care, if you just have all the things that are going to make your life easier ahead of time, it's just going to make the experience that much more enjoyable. But it is not a necessity. As you can see, I got that product on just fine with the bottle. The bottle's a little faster too. Okay, so I'm looking, and do we have any questions? I'm going to keep on trucking here with these sections just so that you can see exactly the size I'm using and all the rest. The other thing that I want to encourage you to do, particularly if you are coloring for the sake of gray coverage, after the roots are on, to do a little bit of a massage with your fingertips. That's going to help you catch any dry spots. It's also just going to help physically manipulate the color into those gray hairs, because those guys are strong and they don't always want to take the color. So we help them by using our plastic cap to trap in our scalp heat, which I'm going to show you at the end, and also just physically with our fingertips moving the product into the hair cuticle. Okay, so this is probably the question we get most about doing one's roots at home, and that is how do I do the back? How do I make sure that I'm getting all the hair in the back? Well, I will tell you as a professional, when you're doing your own hair, you might not 100% get every hair in the back, and that's okay. I think that what we're all learning in this age of being at home and FaceTiming everyone and being in Zoom meetings and hangouts and conference calls is we're looking at ourselves a lot more these days, right? We're a lot more looking at our own reflection. This stuff is what's really, really gonna matter to you at first glance. But I'm gonna try to turn around and keep this so that you can still see quite clearly what I'm doing. So I'm separating my hair in half here, and I'm gonna use the bottle here. I'm gonna go in horizontally and pull this forward, and where I feel that parting, apply the color. Now I know I'm turning away from you to show you, but I don't know if you're losing my voice at all. So I'm taking the sections horizontally, putting the color right in between so that I can feel that color against my scalp, and pushing it in both ways, down and up, so that I'm really saturating all of this hair. And it's okay if you overlap a section that you already did in the front. That's not going to hurt anything. That's going to be just fine. So I'm not quite as specific with the back. I myself am just not a perfectionist about it. But I think because typically you can get a little bit more movement through here because you're not as worried about covering up old highlights here, you can massage that in a little bit better. And that is how you sort of ensure better coverage. So as you can see, my color is already processing. and we're going to do the second back quadrant. So after I've done one side, I'm just sort of reestablishing my parting so that I'm working neat, or as neat as possible on oneself. Okay. Boop. All right. So again, now this time with the tint brush. And you're going right in where you can feel it on your scalp. So I'll do my next couple sections here. And then I like to recommend something that we always do as professionals, but I don't think enough of us do at home, is cross-checking the hair. So after you go in, and now I'm fully applied throughout, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a massage through just to work the color in everywhere, make sure that I didn't miss anything, particularly in the back. Okay, and now I did horizontal sections. As you saw, I went down this way. So what I like to do is just take my tint brush and open those same sections vertically and just look for any missed areas. And just give it a quick glance. You don't have to reapply your whole head, but you're really just looking for any dry spots in there. So at the end, you're very likely going to have a little color left over. What I recommend is any of those gray hairs or resistant hairs that are sticking up, just really go in and ensure saturation. Saturation with permanent hair color is the key to getting really good gray coverage. So just really make sure that around the hairline and in your partings where those guys really like to come out and say hi, that those are covered really, really well, okay? So if you are doing a root application and nothing else, that would be it for you. Or you could set your timer for 35 to 40 minutes, and then in the last 5 minutes, add the rest of your permanent product through your mids and ends for that abbreviated processing time. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and carry on with our color reviving gloss. So this is, again, semi-permanent hair color. And I'm just gonna pin my hair up, and I'm gonna work from the back to the front for neatness. This product could not be any easier to put on the hair. It comes out of the tube, ready to go, and this processes for about 25 minutes. So if you've got much longer to wait for your roots, say your roots need 45 because you've got resistant gray, what you would do right now that your roots are on is set your timer for 20, and when that time elapses, then you would go in and add your gloss. Because I am using a toning glaze, my color is actually going to be on for 20, so this is a perfect amount of time for me. I'm going to go in straight with my color reviving gloss. So what you want to do is you take your section of hair and you see where your application of color has ended. Right around there is where you start distributing your gloss and work it through, massaging it in with your fingers, going right up to that gloss mark but not over, just so you're not overlapping. Okay. And same thing on the other side. Your sections also don't need to be quite as skinny. What you'll notice about the color reviving gloss is it's got more of a gel consistency, so it works through the hair a little bit easier than cream. So you can get a lot more product worked in with a bigger section. So you can see really clearly, there's my root touch-up, and I'm going in with my gloss from here down. So the gloss that I'm using right now is the Prosecco gloss, which is, if you like Prosecco, this is like a champagne-y beige for blondes who like to stay a golden blonde. So I like blondes and light brunettes who like a little bit of gold in their hair color, and I do. I feel like for me, when my hair gets a little too cool, it gets a little blah in the skin, so I like a little bit of golden shine. Okay, so here's the front, and I'm going straight in and just applying and using my hand to grab those drips and right up to without overlapping. I think a question that we get a lot is, how do you do this at the same time? So there's absolutely two ways that you can use gloss. You can use gloss at the same time as your roots, which is what I'm showing you now, and hopefully you're seeing that it is super easy. It can be a little bit of an intimidating idea, but when you see it done, it's really not super difficult, especially because you don't even have to mix gloss with anything at all. The other great use for gloss is in between colors. When you're not quite ready for a root touch-up, but maybe the tone of your hair is getting a little dull and unhappy, and you just want to wake it up a little bit, you can use gloss directly out of the tube, let it sit on for 20 or 25 minutes, and it's just going to bring that hair tone back to life without affecting your base color at all. So you see how I'm applying it? It's really, I'm being very unscientific here. It's really just getting it on and rubbing it through, taking it just up to that root line without overlapping. And I'll do both sides. And if you are wanting something to kind of zhuzh up your ends, but you don't want to see a lot of change, we actually have a clear gloss as well that's sort of like putting a clear top coat on your nails, where it just gives a little bit of shine and just kind of brings out the dimension in your hair without darkening and without making any tonal shift. So if you just love where your hair's at right now and you want to maintain it, but with more shine, clear gloss is going to be a really good answer for you. Okay, how are we doing out there in the world? Okay, can you see this pretty well? I know some people are joining at different times, so this will be repeat for some of you, but, and then you just work straight down and up into the root line and pull through. So for me, this will be a 20-minute process. If you're using gloss for the abbreviated time, gloss will tell you that it can be on your hair from 20 to 35 minutes. I don't go below 20. That's kind of the key to success with glosses. They really do need their time to sit on the hair and deposit tone. So I wouldn't keep it on any less than that, or else you're just not going to quite get the intended result. So 20 minutes is your start time. Okay? Now there we go. So I am done with my hair. I just can't enough recheck my hairline. So specifically if you're working with gray, just go back in, check, check, check. You're not going to over apply, right? We want those little babies covered. The other thing is the cap. So when you put your cap on, you know what, I do not have my cap in here, but I will go grab it. When you have your cap on, put your cap on just right at the hairline, not too far down, so that you don't get, what we're doing is we're trapping in the heat to get those grays to take the color a little bit better, and really to saturate them, and also to just keep you from dripping so you can sit on your couch and watch something on Netflix for the 35 minutes that you have to process. If you put it down too low, you'll get a little heat here and you can get unwanted staining. So just nice and neat, right at the hairline is where you would put the cap. So if there are any questions, I will hang out for a few minutes. Thank you for loving Madison Reed. We love you too. I hope this has been helpful, especially for our friends for who this is their first time doing this. I know it can be a nerve-wracking experience, but It is really, really easy. This video will be here for you to reference. You can go to the how-to section in our website and it's there for you to reference as well. So don't be intimidated, don't be nervous, we got you. We also have our color crew on standby. Those are licensed colorists, so if you don't have your color on hand yet and you haven't known what color to get, two things. Our color advisor, which is the color quiz that you're gonna see right when you get to our website, that's gonna be your fastest way to an answer, to a color match and to placing your order. If you wanna talk to somebody, we have licensed colorists who can help you. You just go to our website, there's a call and a chat function. Even if you can't get through, we are getting a lot of new requests. We see every single request, every single missed chat, and we answer them all. So somebody will be getting to you, even if you're experiencing a little bit of a wait time. Okay, that's what I got. We will be on the lookout for questions. We'll get back to you with answers. Happy coloring. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.